Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Varsity Club Lacrosse podcast presented by Focus on the Field. Now, Focus on the Field is an administrative service provider focused on youth sports organizations. They offer a fully outsourced turnkey solution to the administrative burden facing administrators, coaches, and volunteers. They offer multiple services through administration, communication, registration, and technology. The Focus on the Field team has extensive experience in youth services and parent engagement with a deep understanding of the nuance involved in driving a positive experience. This, combined with years of industry knowledge in youth sports, has enabled Focus on the Field to become the modern solution in optimizing youth sports administration. All right, now back to the episode. Hello and welcome to the Varsity Club Lacrosse podcast, your go-to source for all things club lacrosse. Today we're going to discuss the newest MCLA news. We have an exclusive interview with two Florida State players who cemented their legacy by helping create a women's varsity lacrosse team, Sophia Villalonga and MariaLovelace. Then we're going to finish up with some unsportsmanlike conduct. So stay tuned to see what it's all about. All right, Sam, how's it going, man?
It's going good, Brian. I'm kind of hyped. We're getting some terms for our segments here. We're trying to go some lacrosse terms, and we did actually just come up with this. So if you hate it, sorry, man. That's how it's going to be for a little bit. But I'm super excited for this podcast episode. I think this is going to be very beneficial for the women's Florida State club team, and also all of our listeners who probably don't have much of an idea of what's going on with their situation, and even the WCLA in general. So, just glad about this because we've been preaching the whole time about club lacrosse. What is the word?
We've emphasized exposure, yeah, and we've talked mostly just about the MCLA, but we're very glad that we are also going to be talking about the WCLA too.
Yeah, thank you for cleaning that up, Brian.
Yeah, no problem. They deserve the recognition.
Yeah, they do.
And what they're doing at FSU is really remarkable. So really excited for the interview. But first off, we have our news roundup. So Sam, tell us what is going on in the world of club lacrosse.
We've had a little bit going on since the last time we've talked about this, but it's kind of same thing as last. But we do have some preseason polls that are coming out for conferences, and I am not sure if we've done these yet. I don't think we have, but if we have, you get another shout out. I'll just go through. We got UMLC D2, ALC D1, and D2, and I'm just going to name the first couple teams. I'll probably just name the first team, just whoever's at the top of the list. For UMLC D2, we've got Dayton, reigning champions, of course, have to be at the top of their conference. And again, I don't know a whole lot about D2. I'm going to really try my best to, get into that more this year. But the UMLC D2, I would be surprised if there's a harder conference, because even I know some of these teams are very good or used to be good. Like North Dakota State at 5, I feel like were in the national hunt like 3-4 years ago. So good to see for UMLC. That's a very tough conference for them. Then we've got ALC D2, and at the top of the list is UNC Charlotte, the 49ers. I love that name, absolutely. They have, I'm not naming off all these teams because they have a lot of people in their conference, as well as the D1 conference. And at the top of the list, reigning D1 champs Virginia Tech, of course, can't have it any other way, followed by Liberty and then some other teams. So go check those out if you're trying to see where those teams in that conference. If you're in that conference, if you're not, go check it out. And the only other thing we really have for news is some more fall ball check-ins. And I don't remember where we left off, but I'm going to say UNC Charlotte, Rhode Island, and then going up from there. And I think what's really awesome about these fall ball check-ins is that whoever, again, is writing them, they're doing a phenomenal job of doing this exposure thing and not just sticking to the teams who are in the top 10 or teams who a lot of people normally see content about, but even as a PNCLL guy, seeing Western Washington up there is honestly so cool. And I'm sure those guys are loving it. So I just go check those out. Even if you don't know anything about these teams, it makes it even better because it's just a little snippet of who they are and what they're kind of looking forward to in the year. So definitely check those out, and along with the D1, D2 polls, and I'm sure those will be coming out the following weeks. But that's kind of all the news we got, Brian. Not much going on.
Sweet. All right, guys, so that's it for our news roundup. Up next, we have the exclusive interview with Sophia Villalonga and MariaLovelace. Now we welcome on two iconic women who have created the path for FSU to have a varsity women's lacrosse team and are breaking more boundaries by being the first woman on the Varsity Club Lacrosse podcast. Please welcome former president and current grad student Sophia Villalonga and current president of the women's club team, MariaLovelace, aka Bean. How's it going, everyone?
It's great. Thank you so much for having us.
Good. Thank you as well.
All right. So, guys, give us a little bit of a background about yourself. Like, how did you guys get into lacrosse in general? And where are you guys from?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I've been playing lacrosse since I don't even know, like 6th grade. So I've kind of been playing forever now. And yeah, I joined the FSU club team my sophomore year of my undergrad and fell in love with it absolutely. Unfortunately, COVID hit, so things looked a little bit different. And then yeah, I was president for 2 years going into my master's, and then now in my second year of my master's, I decided to pass the position down. And Maria's been the perfect person I ever could have asked to take the role. But yeah, now I'm in my second year and I love the team, and yeah, I'm still around. So
I grew up in Chicago, and then about when I was like 10 years old, we moved to Bradenton, Florida, which is an hour south of Tampa. I've been playing since I was 7. My dad played lacrosse all his life. He played at Kutztown University in Pennsylvania, so he just kind of really fostered love for the sport in myself as well. And he's kind of been like my biggest supporter through this whole thing. And coming to Florida State, I knew that I wanted to play for the club team. My older sister knew girls on the team and started my freshman year, and I just fell in love with it. And then I had the awesome opportunity to kind of carry on what Soph has done like for our program. And so hopefully I do as great of a job as she has.
And Sophia, I was president when I played at Oregon, and I took a 5th year. Definitely was not a grad student, but I couldn't even think about being president for 2 years, even with my 5th year schedule being so lax as it was. Like, there was no way I would have done president for 2 years in a row. So I just need to know, how and why did you do that?
It was definitely a lot, because my first year of my master's degree, I was still president. So that was definitely like a lot to take my first master's classes and everything. But
Right.
I think honestly, just love the sport and the girls and the team, and we had really just been growing so much as a team. So like after COVID is when like things really started getting serious. Like our first year after COVID is when we like went to nationals and like for the first time, and that was awesome. Like after COVID, we had our first tryout with like 80 girls showing up, which we never had before. During COVID, we couldn't even get 10 girls to show up to practice. Like it was really hard, everything before that. So finally we're like just getting all these girls interested, and it was just so cool to see. So I think just all of that is what really pushed me to like want to keep it going and like keep having a good leadership that like kept everything consistent. Because I think it was kind of hard. We'd have really great presidents and like really great exec. And then, the team would kind of graduate a little bit, and we'd kind of have to start, I feel like, again from the beginning. So it was really cool. I was just wanting to like be a good, consistent leader for a little bit to kind of get the ball rolling. And I mean, I'm just so proud of where we are now. So I definitely just all that kind of pushed for it.
Yeah, I would definitely say you got the ball rolling. That is for sure.
Thank you.
And can you tell us and our listeners what separates men's and women's lacrosse? I feel like there's definitely a misconception of women's lacrosse. So if you guys could just kind of expand on that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like at the end of the day, the sport is a little bit different, but they really are very, really similar. Obviously, men's got a lot more contact. We're fighting for it. I think we should get a little more contact.
I agree.
Right. But even in the recent years, like even with our sticks, last couple of years, we got mesh in our sticks now. So like things are kind of getting a little more equivalent in those aspects. But I think honestly, just the big difference is honestly just the contact. Because I think that's what kind of makes all the rule changes where we have, like more fouls and like the 8 meters and stuff like that. It's like those physical aspects kind of make it, but it's still just a challenging, huge mental game. Same, I think, the way the men's is.
Yeah, I think also the idea that like we have like 8 and 12 meters. When I watch men's lacrosse, I'm like, how do they know where to go? Like I don't play attack, but like I'm like, I wish I as a defender would have those lines to kind of guide me. So I think that's kind of an interesting aspect of men's lacrosse, and also the fact that, they have some people that all their job is to just take the face off. We don't have that really. So yeah, and like Soph said, it's the contact, a lot of it.
I think there's a lot of people that would listen to this podcast that would agree or disagree about the face-off thing. Definitely think a lot of people would like to see how women do it, just because everyone hates how the face-off is. I like the face-off, but I think a lot of people are definitely down to switch that.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to see. I think it'd be cool to see, like, I don't know, more like mixed games or something like that. Some sort of mixed league, like, because I really feel like, I don't know, I think it would maybe be a little bit different getting men and women together, but I think it'd be really fun, something cool to see, to kind of see like the way the skill would be matched. So I feel like too, with the lack of contact comes a little bit more like planning, I think, in women's lacrosse. Like, I can't just barrel through anybody, unfortunately. So I think too, sometimes that kind of comes into play more. So I'd be really interested to see like the combination of the two to kind of see how, maybe we would play up against some sort of men like defense or something. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see.
Well, I've heard about high school teams, at least in the past, have done where they've switched. The men will take the boys will take the girls' sticks, and the girls will take the boys' sticks. I haven't been in one of those myself, but I feel like that's at least a good way to get it started, at least.
Oh, definitely.
Now, do you guys have a bunch of like coordinated events with the men's team at all? Or is there any collaboration between you guys, whether it's fundraising or just hanging out?
We've done a few stuff where it's more like a social aspect. We've never really done any sort of like fundraising with them. We've kind of thought about the idea of doing like a mixed boys and girls game where we switch sticks. But that I don't know if we've necessarily told them about that. But I think because we're just coming back from COVID, I think we're both kind of trying to find our feet and working in more like on a year by year basis of becoming more collaborative.
Yeah, I know at Purdue we had the same exact thing where it was more of only like social events that we would have. But I hope going forward that more teams can actually like collaborate and be united and trying to promote their teams.
Yeah, definitely. I would love for us to get closer, especially in the coming years. Like, I don't know. I feel like it only makes sense for us to be like really close together. Like, we all have the same passion for the same sport. Like we're all like the same age and everything too. Like, I feel like it'd be really nice, like, to get more collaboration with them. But I think it's coming. I think it's coming for sure.
And club teams got to have each other's back. I mean, that's rule number one right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So it'd be really nice to like really strengthen that bond that we have with them.
And Maria, you said that you knew about the club team before you even went to FSU?
Yes. So I was kind of debating between Florida State and UF. And then I was like, no, I don't want to go to UF. So I decided to go to FSU. My older sister goes here, and she knew some girls on the team. And so I kind of had a good idea going into it, like what I could expect. And I knew that there were some people who maybe I didn't know, but I would kind of have that, bridge between. So it just I just knew when I was coming in that I wanted to continue playing the sport I love.
That's great. And Sophia, you joined your sophomore year. So how did you know about FSU having a club team before you went to the university?
I knew that it was like a thing. I don't think I knew much detail about it, or really, I don't think I knew anybody that actually played. But I remember my freshman year, like bringing all my equipment. I remember having my stick in my closet and everything. And I remember like passing around, like out on Landis a little bit. But I don't know. I don't think I just ever really found the team yet. I also had like a bad skateboarding accident that put me in crutches for a little while. So that also, I think, deterred me a little bit. I couldn't really do much. But it kind of worked out that I joined my sophomore year because that gave me more eligibility. So that way I can kind of, keep playing now that I'm in my grad school and stuff. But yeah, I was able to find them through like little involvement fairs and stuff. And my roommate at the time, she also played lacrosse too. We all played in high school. So it was just such a big thing. And we were like, we want to keep playing this. So I'm really glad I did find them.
I'm really sorry for laughing when you said you got in a skateboarding accident, but it was just hard not to.
No, it's a good story. Well, see, it's hard because Tallahassee, you'd be surprised. We got some hills out here.
Okay.
But in Orlando, it's so flat. The hills really snuck up on me, and I absolutely ate it.
Yeah.
Oh, I ate it, but we don't skateboard anymore. That
was my next question, but yeah, it's probably a good call.
No, I'm too scared. Honestly, I see people on campus and I like wince. I don't know. This scares me now. I've lost
PTSD.
That. Yes, literally.
So 3 years ago, you and your team pushed to have a varsity program. And so what was kind of the difference between those meetings 3 years ago and the ones you had prior to the summer with the school announcing going D1?
Yeah. So when we first kind of came before, I remember me and my vice president at the time, we came into like a meeting with the like athletic director and like the whole athletic board. When we sat in, they have the option where you can kind of sit in at the end, like ask a question or whatever. So we kind of stood up and we were like, hey, we're from the lacrosse team. Like, we're wondering like what the interest is. And like, we have a lot of girls who really want to play, and kind of like, gave our whole spiel. And they seemed receptive. But I remember one guy being like, okay, like, do you have like a sample budget? And we were like, no, we don't have a sample budget. Like, where would I get that? And we talked to some other ladies, and there were one lady being like, yeah, like I have kids that play lacrosse. Like, let's talk about it. And we emailed her, and we didn't really get I don't even think we got a response. Like, it was just they seemed to kind of want it a little bit, and then nothing really came from that. And I even know years before that, we had people who came back in like 2018 and talked to athletic directors and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, like lacrosse is on the radar. And of course, nothing's ever even seen. Like, if you Google it, there's like an article from like 2018 too. It says like, it's on the rise or whatever. And again, just nothing really came from it. So it was a lot of like kind of talking about it, like always just kind of being up in the air. And then we thought, like it's a money thing, it's a budget thing, like whatever. But then when that article came out and we kind of started realizing that, FSU could have a team. It's not a money thing. Now it's like they just don't really want to, because with them being on the wrong side of Title IX, like it shows not only that they should have a team, but like there was nothing really holding them back. Like that opportunity should be there. So that's kind of what made the big shift, was like conversations of kind of being more like, well, maybe, to like this really should be happening.
That's awesome. I love the persistence. I didn't know about the 2018 thing, but it definitely seems like you guys have had this in your history, and it was bound to happen at some point.
Definitely, because just so many people wanted it for so many years. Like, even the people who came before me and played before, like, and Maria can tell you, we get so many recruiting emails, like just things like that. Like, people would just want to come here and play, and it was just so unfortunate we didn't have that opportunity for them. But it's cool that we do now. But
yeah, I remember when I think either my sister was applying or I was applying, and my dad was like, there was an article about, FSU is going to be getting a D1 team. And I was like, really? And I looked it up, and I think I found that 2018 article, and I was like reading it, and I was like, wow, like that would be so awesome. Like, I'm so happy. And then, little did I know a few years later,
yeah,
we'd be doing this.
So how did you guys go about finding the Title IX violations, I guess?
Well, honestly, it was kind of brought to us in that USA Today article. So I guess 2 years ago now, I guess loosely, a USA Today article was posted. It was the 50th anniversary of Title IX. And the kind of article was like, okay, after 50 years of having this law, how many schools are still out of compliance or still violating Title IX? And they interviewed me and my vice president at the time, kind of being like, you guys are a really successful club team. How does it feel being at a school where they're out of compliance with Title IX and you guys are like really successful? And that's kind of what really opened our eyes, because we're like, oh wow, we did not realize that was even a thing. Like, I didn't realize, I knew about Title IX, but not necessarily like the nitty gritty of it, especially when it came to athletics, because I've never really, been involved with D1 athletics. So I didn't know kind of how it worked in that realm, but that's what really kind of opened our eyes and really started, getting the ball rolling. Like, shoot, we really have something here. We really could work with this and kind of make it, benefit us a little bit in the way.
And I saw you guys had someone kind of helping you, like an attorney, through that process. And I guess, how did you come about that lawsuit? And who was that person helping you, and kind of what did they do for you guys?
So they reached out to us. It was Bailey and Glasser. But we kind of worked more closely with Arthur Bryant and Lori Bullock. They kind of reached out to us after that USA Today article came out that Soph was talking about and said, hey, FSU is out of compliance. We think you guys have a really good case here. Here are some other schools that, we've worked with to get a women's lacrosse program. You guys have a great case. And so that's kind of how we started getting the ball rolling with them.
So this wasn't their first rodeo. Like, they've done other women's teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of sweet, little niche work for them. Kind of looking for just going across the country and looking for every women's team that needs a D1 program. That's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was
no,
available.
they're the best. And Arthur really specifies in like Title IX cases specifically. So
Right.
they knew. I think they helped like even the Clemson team get up and running and stuff. So like they had been doing this even just pretty recently. So they definitely knew what they were doing, and they led us for sure.
Right. So that kind of made this process easy for you guys. At least there was someone even reaching out to help you. Like, you didn't even have to go to anybody.
Yeah, definitely. I think if they hadn't come to us, I don't think honestly much would have happened because, we don't really know the first step to take. And even if I were to kind of take steps on my own, having that like, lawyer help is what really made the big push. So we definitely couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah, I don't think any club athlete really understands that varsity program process. I think it's just so tough to put on a couple club players' shoulders, even if it is a president or vice president, whatever. So yeah, props to you guys. That is really sweet. Of this whole, like Brian said, this is like truly groundbreaking, and it's super sweet to hear, and it's awesome to have you guys on here. So we are very thankful to have you guys here, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we're so happy about it all. It's just been so awesome.
What have practices been like for you guys? Because I'm assuming you're practicing right now.
Yeah. After it became public, we kind of talked to our teammates about it, because some of them were returners, so they were kind of in on, what was going on. They understood. But I mean, we've had a lot of very new girls who they probably saw that and were like, what? Because it was confidential, we couldn't talk about it. And so I had Soph kind of explain to them like what was going on, and they were really excited. I think especially those younger girls, the freshmen and sophomores, who are good enough to play at Division I programs, but it's that decision between, do I want to go to Florida State, my dream school, or do I want to go to another school that I don't have as many ties to? So I think that just kind of gives them something to look forward to and kind of allow them to maybe work harder, because they're like, I want to be able to try out for this program and potentially be on the team. So I think it's kind of given people a new purpose.
Right. It's made practices a little more competitive. And I mean, I'm sure that's got to be fun. Like, hearing that news and like going to practice, like I'd be giddy, like super excited to be practicing, even if I'm not even going to join the D1 team. But just, having my teammates fight for that and then come through for it, I think that would be so awesome.
Yeah,
definitely. Everyone was so excited. I think too, just being happy, like proud to be a part of it, and seeing everybody just so excited and happy that we made moves towards that. So I'm glad that we have such a big team right now in the fall. Like, I'm just happy that they were all like part of it as well. Definitely made it a lot better.
Is this the biggest team you've had?
I think so. Yeah.
I got a lot of girls.
Every fall we start to get more girls coming out. Like, I think we maybe had 100 girls come out to our tryouts. And obviously there's a little bit of a drop off because some people are like, hey, this isn't for me. But yeah, I think right now we're at like 70 to 75 girls. Wow. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of people.
That is nuts. 100 people. Brian, you ever have 100 people at your tryout?
No, just at my apartment for parties, but
right, of course.
No, but that's amazing having that amount of people. I'm so glad, because I feel like there's not going to be any drop off for when you guys do have a varsity and a club team. You guys will be able to have both. And I really hope you guys are given the opportunity to try out for the varsity team for the people who qualify. Have you guys received any word about them, like any coaches coming in or tryouts or what it's going to look like for the varsity team at all?
I personally haven't heard anything yet. I'm not sure if anything's been decided on yet. I think honestly it's still pretty fresh, but people are definitely interested. People are always asking us about coaches and tryouts and all that kind of stuff, but we don't have necessarily information on that yet. I would hope that they would announce it hopefully publicly when it all comes down, but yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask who's kind of taking care of like the back end of that varsity program? Like, is it falling on you guys, or like, do you have, like you were saying, recruits are reaching out, like, are those D1 recruits? And then you're like, well, what do I do with these people? Like, that's not my job.
No, literally.
We're not affiliated with the varsity program at all. So we just kind of helped create it, and now we're like, all right, that's all you guys. So we don't deal with any of that, but I can't even tell you how many emails and even DMs on Instagram from girls saying, hey, I'm a 2025, like I'm from New York, I love Florida State. And I have like a generated email I send them and say, hey, I appreciate you guys reaching out and your interest, but I'm 20 years old. I don't have to say that, but like I'm 20. I don't have anything to do with it. So I just kind of tell them to keep an eye out on the athletics website, and yeah, that's all I can really do. I don't have any other information with that.
Yeah, well, like some mom DM'd me on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, lady. Like, but it's cool. It's cool to see the interest, but yeah, like Maria said, we're not going to be directly affiliated in any way, and even when the decision was made, it wasn't like, like we weren't there talking to the school about it. It was like, like our team, like our lawyers and stuff were talking to them. Like we haven't really had much direct like contact about it. It's all kind of been done through us, but yeah.
Kind of sweet to have moms that are reaching out, it's like, it's super weird, but it's also like, it's cool to see people interested.
No, definitely. I think that's the biggest thing that's so exciting, because we've had interest before, like even in the last couple of years, people would like, send us their film and stuff, asking about being recruited. And it's kind of like, oh, sorry, like we're just a club team. Like we don't have the like resources to kind of do all that kind of stuff. But it's crazy to see how many girls now are just flooding us with all this information. Like the demand is there. Like girls really, really want this. And they have been wanting this for years. Like all this recruiting and stuff, like everyone's been wanting to do this. So it only just goes to show that like having this team, like it was long overdue. Like people want this so bad. And I think the team's gonna be really, really successful. I think when that first varsity season comes, I mean, obviously, there's always gonna be like, you got to warm up to it. There's probably be maybe an off season or two, but I think FSU is gonna be so successful. I mean, even look at Clemson. So Clemson just started their women's lacrosse team, and they were top 20 right out of the bat. Like first season, that's crazy, because I think it's just a huge school that people want to come to anyway. So why not make it a huge lacrosse school? And I think that's just exactly how FSU is gonna be. I think they're gonna be so successful.
Well, what other D1 programs around the area? Like, is it kind of just Florida State, and then they'd have to travel a little bit?
So it's in Florida. UF would be the other like D1. There's also USF just got a program, and Stetson has a D1 program.
Okay.
But competing in the ACC, it's Clemson, UNC, all those other schools up north. I'm not sure if there's any other ones kind of to the west of us, closer, like in Alabama or anything like that. But yeah, so it'd probably just kind of be more up north traveling.
Yeah.
Well, there's at least a few schools around the area. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the big thing too is, so UF does have a team, and they're really good. They're a huge powerhouse, UF is, and they have also a really good, very successful club team. But it kind of just goes to show, they're our big rivals. Like, with UF having a successful team for so long, I'm honestly just, again, surprised that FSU took so long. You think they want to compete, match up with that, they have this huge powerhouse. Like, don't we want to compete with that a little bit? So I don't know, but I'm glad we are now.
Well, your guys' club team has been super successful. I haven't done my research, but how many years do you think consecutively have you guys been successful in your eyes?
So the last 2 years. Are we
talking 5? Are we talking 10? 2?
Well, so I would say 2. So the last 2 years when we went to nationals. Unfortunately, the year that COVID hit, we were doing really, really well. We were like totally undefeated, and we were like looking really good going into like regionals and stuff. But then, of course, COVID, whatever. The last 2 years is when we started placing nationally. And I think that's kind of like the first time really getting on like that national kind of ranking, standard. So I'd say the last 2 years have been really, really successful for us, and, only going up, hoping for the best this year. But I'd say like the last 2 years is when things really started getting like serious, and like just again, that the interest was there. So.
Yeah, what is your guys' like favorite moments of being on a club team, and like kind of just like describe being in the WCLA? Like I know for the guys, everyone kind of talks about like taking vans and just like scheduling everything. And can you guys talk about if it's similar or just the experiences you guys have?
Um, yeah, I think, kind of the traveling aspect is very similar. I think, the things that really kind of like or make us like feel really like happy and like as a team, I think, getting those nationals bids or when they came out with rankings. I didn't even know that they did national rankings for WCLA. So like seeing that and like knowing like as a team, like yes, we have a lot of good players, we're a good team, but to be recognized by, the WCLA on that national level and to have other teams, be able to compete with other great teams in the WCLA is just really amazing. And I think, especially for women's sports, getting that recognition is very important and kind of, makes me at least be like, okay, like I'm glad that I'm playing club.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of fun aspects to it. Like you even said, like the traveling and I mean, Maria just planned all of our games yesterday. She'll tell you about traveling.
Oh,
She just
wow.
drove all the way out to Georgia to plan out our spring games. But it's so great to travel as a team. Like even in the fall, like we said, we have all whatever 70, 80 girls right now. Like we're all gonna travel together too. Like and in the spring, like went for nationals, like we all got to fly out to nationals. So it's cool. Like it's cool to feel so official, and like so much like just like a one big team and you get to do it all together. And, it's just fun. You're in the hotel just messing around. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just fun to do. It's just like a big, like team bonding, big trip. So I really like traveling with the team, especially.
Nobody in those airports knows if you're a D1 team or not. So it's just like, wow,
Right.
these guys are seriously official. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. You just
I
gotta,
get
be a
that.
little confident. Just,
Yeah, absolutely. Maria, you said you had to drive to Georgia to schedule that. You can't
Yeah,
just like send an email.
no, so for our league, we have to meet in person to kind of go over more like housekeeping stuff. And Georgia Tech hosted this year. Soph had to go last year. And I just kind of made it a day trip with my vice president. So I was up at 4:50 and on the road. Was there for 5 hours, made our schedule, listened to some other stuff, and drove back. Got home at like 8. So it was
Oh my God.
the
missed the game
longest,
day.
quickest day I've ever experienced.
Yeah, that sounds pretty brutal. I am not gonna lie.
Yeah. But it's better for us than it is like the, like Miami teams. Like a lot of them fly out there. Unfortunately, they got to fly all the way out there. And then some of them like fly back the same day, like make it like a day trip. Like, I don't know. That's tough. So I guess we're kind of lucky that we're at least a little bit closer, but
Yeah.
yeah, just getting everybody in the South together is kind of tough because there's a lot more above us too.
Right.
I mean, I can't even imagine that. Like, Sam, imagine if we had to fly out for every interview that we had. Like,
I'm down for that. I'm super okay with that.
yeah.
On the
It's
VCL.
golden. Yeah, get a company card. Just expense everything.
There you go. Yeah, put on the team card,
Sorry, guys, dues is up this year.
Yeah, every team.
Gotta afford our flights out there. That's
Yeah.
Maria, how has Sophia prepared you for this spot being of president? And what are some things you're looking forward to being in that role?
Yeah, so I was treasurer for our team last year, so I kind of had a little bit of an idea of surface level of what she'd do. She and I kind of worked closely together, especially obviously for those money aspects. And she just kind of was like, I think you'd be great for the position. I'd love to, pass the torch down to you. And at first I was like, oh, this soon? Because I knew it was a position I would want to do, especially my senior year. Wasn't expecting this year, but nonetheless, I'm very happy for it. And just being able to watch her the past 2 years and see how she conducts herself, whether it's just basic interactions with the team and our coaches, or just there's high stress situations, something's not really going our way. Seeing how she compartmentalizes that and still kind of works with the rest of her exec, I was like, that's something that I definitely want to, take into my time as president. And she just sat down with me one day and basically just told me everything I have to do. And even the past few months, she knows I've blowed up her phone saying, "Hey, I need your advice. Hey, I need your help. Like, how do I do this?" So she's just been such an amazing outlet for me to reach out to. And, I feel like she definitely probably could put that she's president on her resume this year because she's helped me out so much with all of this.
Thank you. No, you're doing a great job, Maria, for real.
I think every club sport athlete understands what you're talking about. I don't know if there's any situation where any president comes in and is like, "Yeah, I know what's going on." You're getting thrown into the fire and you're going to have to figure out how to do it. And that's just the name of the game. There's really no way else around it. It's hard to teach people what you're doing unless you're actually doing it. And I was a vice president. I was a president. I was the year after. I totally know what it's like to get those calls after you've been a president. It's because it's just how it is. You really can't get around it.
No, definitely. No, she's doing a great job. The whole exec board is. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's all student run. So it's not like we have like an athletic director who, has all these contacts and knows all these other people. Like, we're figuring out year by year, and the other teams' exec boards are changing as well. So like, the president that I might have been close with, who always helped me out, like, might not really, like, we don't really have that anymore. So like, there's definitely like a lot of it changing. But no, they're doing a great job. And I think it was perfect too that I had like one more year left of grad school. Like, I like that I'm able to kind of be here and help her too, and like in person and kind of walk things through. I feel like it kind of helped set things up maybe a little bit better instead of me being like totally absent, I guess. But no, you guys are doing such a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely, there can be a massive turnover based upon, I guess, like leadership within club sports, especially. Just because like every 4 years, if as an alumni you come back and you're like, are they as organized? Do they actually care? Do they not? Like, so it's, to me at least, it's always nice to see that like the culture that you left behind has kind of stayed or is continuing to grow and be more competitive too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, just the biggest goal I ever just wanted just to keep seeing the team do well. And even too with this varsity team coming through, like my biggest hope is that the club team still continues to thrive and do well. I think it'd be great, kind of treat it almost like a sister program with the varsity team. Like they can still be separate. They're still two really important entities, but I just want the club team to like keep flourishing and keep being that perfect outlet for maybe the kids who don't want to go D1. Not everybody wants to be waking up at 6 a.m. doing all those lifts and watching film and stuff. Like, club is like the perfect in between. So I just really hope in the upcoming years, like we can really keep all that culture and, by passing the torch on to other good presidents and whatnot, like really keep just the good things going. Like, I really want to just keep all that with it.
It's hard to do that in club lacrosse. There's a lot of turnover, but
Yeah.
as long as you have people that are willing to fight for that culture to keep it, it's going to be easy. Just got to find a few people like Maria.
Yeah, no, we got lucky. We got a lot of really like caring people this year. Like we expanded our exec board. I think one thing too we learned over the years is just with as many more girls as we're getting and the more traveling we're doing, we need more like exec positions. And instead of just having like the core, president, vice president, like travel person, like you kind of need more. And now we have like a social media, person and social events and stuff. Like it's really expanded a lot. And all those girls are all so passionate about the team. Like it's just so cool to see like a 10-person exec board who's doing so many great things. Like I'm excited to see where that all goes.
10 people?
And
it's like 9.
Like 9.
I mean, I'm fine with it as long as it takes away some of the texts that I'm gonna have to send. So
yeah. But yeah, just like over the time, like because about I guess maybe 2 years ago now, we had a pretty small exec board. It was like me, vice president, and like a fundraising chair. And we had some others that just didn't work out. But so it was just a lot fell onto us. So, and we were able to do it, but it's just cool to see how efficiently it's done with other, because then it also gives other girls the opportunity to be on the exec board and have their input heard and kind of see what they want for the team as well. Of course I'm sitting here and I think I always know, what's best, but it's good to always talk with other girls, like get new insight. I've been here for a while, so it's cool to see what like freshmen even want to hear and say and see from the team. So it's good to like expand that and just get like more input on the board for sure.
Yeah, I was completely okay not being on the board. That was nice for me.
Yeah, everyone's got their own. Because I think then you can kind of just be off the board and just, that's kind of why I like because now I'm not really on the exec board at all. I'm just a player now. It's kind of nice to show up the practice. Like I don't have to think about who planned it or how we're all getting everything done. I just got to be a player. So that's kind of nice, definitely.
I make sure that she still worries about all that stuff.
You have to. Gotta keep her on her toes.
Yeah.
I can never get away from it. I'd be like, so need any help?
Last season, you got it.
No,
Brian.
no, this happens every time.
It does. It really. It's hard to. I mean, you really never know when someone's gonna ask them.
Right.
So last season, you guys finished 12-2, and what are you guys kind of doing or looking forward to get over that hump to get 13-1, 14-0? What are you guys looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to more competitive games. I kind of made our schedule yesterday, and we're going to Arizona State this year, and there's supposed to be some pretty amazing top 10 teams there, so I'm really excited for that. I think having that competition, I think it's okay to lose games. Say we lose against number 1 team, or if we lose to UGA again, because they're an amazing team. I think those things are kind of building opportunities. You take that loss, think about like what we as a team can do better early on in the season, and then let that translate on to the rest of the season. Hopefully no more losses. So I'm looking forward to girls who are very excited about playing, very passionate. We have new coaches this year, and they're very passionate about what they're doing. They have a lot of knowledge, and they're very excited for our spring season, and I am as well. And I think, this addition of like a D1 program, like I said earlier, just kind of gives people a new purpose and makes them more excited to come out and play with one another. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. I think having like a more competitive schedule is huge for us. Cause I think too, like with getting into nationals last year. So when we went to the national tournament, we were dead last. We got brought up. Our bid was for the very last position, which, and we did really well. We rose way above that last position, but we kind of showed them that, we didn't really deserve to be there. But the reason was that is kind of just like our strength of our schedule. We played some good teams, we beat some good teams, but in regards to strength and looking at, maybe a top 15 for nationals, like we need to play some more of those highly ranked teams. So Maria made a really good schedule, and we're actually going to be able to kind of play some teams that we never got to play before. We've never really traveled that far just to play. We've only ever really traveled that far for nationals. So it's really good to get people in the other side of the country who there's also like top 10 teams, and even going to nationals, like we kind of got a taste. We're playing teams like BYU, these teams that we would never play in our regular season usually. And they killed us because they're so good. So it's really good to be able to actually travel and play these really, really good teams to like really strengthen us, like Maria said, like as a whole, and to kind of strengthen up our schedule a little bit too.
Also, it's, the beauty of club lacrosse, and I guess all collegiate sports, but you get to travel. And, when I was in college, we went from Oregon to Maryland, and it was like, I've never even been close to there. But it's one of those opportunities where I bet a bunch of your girls are like, holy shit, I got to go to Arizona. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm so down. And so I think it's also scheduling. You're trying to schedule places that, are going to be really good schools to go and play, but also where your team's going to get to go enjoy. Like the problem with Oregon is nobody on the face of the earth wants to come and play in Eugene. And I kind of understand, but it's also like, we're just sitting here with, our hands tied behind our back and having to travel all over the place, which is fun, but also that's a lot of money.
Definitely.
So scheduling is a little tough part of the game that they don't prepare you for, but I'm sure, Maria, you did a great job with it.
Yeah, it's hard to get people to want to come to Tallahassee, Florida. Not really much to do here. In general, some people don't even know where we are. So
there's not like a lot really any close airports either too to get these far out. We have a Tallahassee airport, but it's just so expensive to fly into it. Mm-hmm. It's just very small, so it's like that kind of limits us as well. But no, definitely, I think traveling. We go to Vanderbilt a lot, so we go out to Nashville, and again, like you said, that's just a good team, good play, but it's also like fun for the girls to be out in Nashville. Like that's so fun. We all get on a bus and travel all together. And that's just so awesome.
Our bus broke down, but
our bus broke down.
Broke down.
We were stuck at a gas station for 10 hours. Like, not even exaggerating, not even being funny. Like, literally 10 hours we were stuck.
Ooh.
It was fall. But we pushed through. and we did really well. So
It was a 3-0 weekend.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it was so bad. But, that would never happen to a varsity team. If that happened to a
Yeah.
varsity team, they'd fly them out.
Nope,
But of course,
absolutely.
we waited 10 hours for a new bus to come. And
That's
it was
just club lacrosse problems right there.
so club
Yeah.
lacrosse.
Yeah.
Just
10 hours though. That is kind of crazy.
it was insane.
You guys
Oh, it
play
was
some
so insane.
games? Did you?
Well, we were like 30 minutes outside of Tallahassee too. Like we weren't even that far. Like we weren't even. Oh, it was so bad.
And the thing is like they were like, we're getting a bus. Like they weren't giving us like a timeline. They're like, we're getting a bus. So we're like, okay, like I can't go home. And then they're like, oh, bus is here. So
And
we
then-
became marathon workers for the day.
Yeah,
we were
we
gas
were
station
just-
for the day.
And I tried to bring somebody to fix the bus, and that wasn't working. He was sitting back there, and it was just, it was so bad. The bus driver wanted me to look at it. I was like, "What do you want me
Yeah,
to look
right.
at?" He brought me out. He was like, "Hey, let me come talk to you." As the back is like smoking, we're like, "Come on, man. What do you want me to do?" I don't. It was
That
so
is
bad.
good. That is so good. You just can't write it any better. Like, you know,
And it was funny because the same thing happened to our men's team. But apparently, or this is actually what happened, they got so lucky. Some woman drove by with a bus and said, I can take 25 of your players.
You just had a bus.
What?
She
Oh,
just happened to be driving it.
Drove by with
I
a bus.
heard about
I'm like,
that.
why couldn't we get that?
Right? Like, come on.
so one of my best friends from Oregon transferred, or not transferred, went and did grad school at Florida State and played there these last 2 years. And I'm almost pretty positive he called me while he was on that. He's like, dude, we're stuck in Georgia for like 5 hours. I was like, that sounds really shitty. I'm sorry about that. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is too good.
Yeah, they got a little luckier than we did, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. And do you think that the success of your club team has played a part in going to become a varsity program, or do you think it's kind of just how the cards were laid out for you guys?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think us being a successful club team, and I think gaining success in a pretty short amount of time, I think that definitely helps. I think, at the end of the day, like the Title IX stuff is what obviously really, really, pushed it. But I think us being a successful team, that showed again that there's a lot of girls interested, there's a lot of talent here that could be, maybe successful at a higher level. I think that definitely helped a little bit, just kind of showing like, again, the demand is there, the talent is there, like we could really work with that. So I think that definitely helped a little bit for sure.
No doubt. Ryan, you want to
final
you got
question?
anything
or
else, or you
more
want to
questions?
close us? I ain't got nothing.
I got some more. What are you guys looking forward to this year and this season? And Maria, as being a new president, what are kind of expectations you have?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to carrying on our success from the past 2 years. I'm hoping that, we have another great season, not too many losses. And I just want our team to, have a strong connection, have a strong bond. That's kind of, what I expect. I think that it's very important, and I know my part in creating that bond. I've seen Soph do it the past 2 years, so hoping to continue that on, and looking forward to hopefully another year going to nationals. It'll be in Wichita, Kansas
Really?
this year, so mark your calendars.
What? Why? Why is it in Kansas?
Middle of the
I
country.
didn't know that.
Middle of the
Oh,
country.
man.
So I'm really excited for that. um, so yeah, just hopefully continuing on our success and having girls, really enjoy the sport and keep growing, getting better.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely excited for, again, like all the same things. I think too, we have like Maria explained, we have new coaches. So I'm really excited to kind of like create a good bond with them and kind of see like what we were doing with them. Because right now in the fall, it's been going really, really well. These coaches really came in like a lot of passion, a lot of knowledge, especially. And there's such big planners. Like we came in the fall season, they gave us like almost like a 40-page handbook of like, plays and workouts, and just shows that they are so passionate and they care so much, which it's just hard to find in club. Even for a couple of years, we didn't even have a coach. We were, again, just like very student run, and we kind of make up things as we go. So it's really nice to have like this leadership that like really cares, really knows what they're talking about, and like can really lead us even higher than we were last year. So I'm really excited to see how it goes. I mean, that's just the fall season. So I'm excited to see what they kind of bring and really push us with in the spring season. But definitely excited to see where it all goes.
I think a handbook is kind of what you would hope and expect for. But I think if I got given a handbook that had more than 10 pages, I would have said, I'm sorry, here you go. You can have that.
You know, I think some girls were definitely surprised.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm reading all that. I'm going to be honest.
I was surprised when I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Because again, we're not used to that, especially at the
Yeah.
club level. You know, you kind of
Definitely.
want to just mess around a little bit, but it
I've
helps
been
to know that
using
they
it.
care.
Yeah.
Just be like, I thought we had a varsity team already. Like,
Yeah,
is
that's
this
for the varsity team.
All right, guys. So we have one final question that we like to ask all of our guests. What advice do you have for high school lacrosse players thinking about playing in college?
Definitely if you want to play NCAA, start the recruiting process early. I myself never got into the recruiting process. I was kind of the type that I was just like, I don't really feel like doing that. My dad would ask me about it and I'd be like, maybe. And then it got to like my junior, senior year and I was like, oh, I guess I'm just not going to play lacrosse like in college at that level. But again, I'm happy. And I think just kind of knowing what you want to get out of it. I think it's important to obviously think about your education. I know at least for lacrosse, there's not really much following your college career. I know that's kind of sad to say, but definitely, think about your education on top of your athletics and reach out to schools. It doesn't hurt. They get those emails all the time. Just bombard them if you need to. Ask your coaches for help. And if you're like, I kind of want the more laid back aspect, Florida State's a great club program for you.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is if like club is an option and it's out there. I think in high school when people were talking about recruiting, like I even said, like I didn't really know much about club. I knew that it was there and I kind of thought it was just the same as like IMs. I didn't really realize that it was like a competitive team that, travels and nationals and all that kind of stuff. So I think the big thing like I would have kind of pushed is like, keep club on the radar. Like it's really giving me the perfect college experience where, I mean, like I said, I'm still in grad school. I'm still playing, like I can still play at this level and it's still, manageable. And there's some really, really successful club teams out there. And also too, let's say they go D1 and they don't love it. They can always fall back on a club team. We have a lot of girls and I've seen a lot of other teams, same kind of thing, maybe you play D1 for a little bit and you realize it's a little too much and you kind of go back to the club level. Like it's always there as an option. And I really just wish that more high school teams talk about it too with their girls. So definitely pushing for that as an option.
Don't discount it or you'll be like me when my coach told me he played club at Texas A&M and I was like, what's club? Fast forward 3 years later, here I am running a club program and I was like, yeah, I should have asked him a few more questions about clubs. So definitely don't discount it.
Yeah.
Yep. Nobody truly knows about club lacrosse.
I know. And it's so big and people are so passionate about it, especially people who are in it. Like it's funny seeing how big of a network it is. Like it really is just so huge. And I feel like it really doesn't get talked about as much as it absolutely should be.
Damn right, Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
People should
and there's so many
start a
successful
podcast.
players.
Yeah. Georgia's goalie, she's playing Division I at Duke University.
Mm-hmm.
So Delaney,
yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she played club for I guess 3 years. I guess she had a COVID year, but yeah, and then she got recruited to go up to D1. Like again, it just proves like that talent is there. There are some really good club players and great programs. Like, I know. I love it. I wish more people knew about it. Hopefully they will now. Especially that's one thing too that I like about all this like varsity stuff is there's a lot more eyes on our club team, which, has its pros and its cons. But I mean, even just gaining followers, we got so many more followers and that's just more people who know about us and can recognize us and recognize club as a sport and more people who are interested in streaming our games and just stuff like that. Just getting more, just women's sport on the map, but getting us and specifically club sports on the map as well. So definitely exciting.
Yeah. And I think you guys at Varsity Club Lacrosse have done a great job with that. It was a great feeling, for me I followed your account the past 2 years and see you guys post your first, WCLA D1 rankings. I was like, oh, wow, like they're posting for like us women's sports. Like, I think that was, something that made me feel like really happy and recognized because, I mean, that's the reality. Men's sports usually do just get recognized more than women's. But to see that such a successful, like, whether it's an Instagram account or like company organization posting about us as well. Like I think it just made me, and I know it made all of us be like, oh my gosh, did you see Varsity Club Lacrosse posted us?
No,
So that definitely helps.
Yeah, we would love to take credit, but we were kind of just, as you guys were, given your team as being on a board member, and you're like, all right, like, guess this is ours now. It's kind of like Sam and I taking on the podcast, and we're like, all right, yes, it's ours. Like,
Hey, still, it's hype though.
yeah, but we're very excited to spread the word of the WCLA, and we're very grateful to have both of you on. So, are there any last minute shout outs that you guys would like to do?
To my dad.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your support. He's gonna watch this at the end and be like, okay.
Yeah, just shout out to the team, everybody. Just so much positive energy right now. Like, even with all the D1 stuff, like, that was one thing too, not to keep rambling, but we got so much positive feedback from people I never even expected it from. Like even like the USA Lacrosse people reached out to us, and people more from our school and other, like other articles. And like, there's just so much positive feedback, which I don't know, not that I didn't expect it, but I wasn't really sure how people would think. And, some people would think that adding women's lacrosse is maybe taking opportunities away from maybe men's lacrosse. And, people have, of course, all their incredible opinions, but it was just cool to see how much just positivity we got and just so much love from it all. So shout out to everybody that, supported us through all this. That was really awesome to see.
All right, guys, that was our interview with Sophia Villalonga and MariaLovelace. That was awesome. So great to talk with them about FSU and their varsity and club team, and just to get to know the ins and outs of what they had to go through. Now, for our final segment, Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Trying out a new name for our segment. Trying to incorporate some lax terms. Really excited. So, Sam, what is your unsportsmanlike conduct for this episode?
Yeah, we're filming this on Sunday, the 15th of October. Saturday, the 14th, Oregon Ducks played against the Washington Huskies in football. I've got a lot of choice words on this little sheet of paper I got here. But damn it, Brian, am I sad. It's like we sit here, we go through sports, the ups and downs. And, I really try and cherish all those moments, whether it's good or bad. But if you sit here, you lose one year, that's fine. But if you go into that next year and you lose the exact same way, going for fourth down with 2 minutes to go, you give the ball back to Michael Penis Jr., the Heisman candidate, he is going to take it to the house. And he's going to ruin all of your fans' day. And that's exactly what's happened for the second year in a row. I just can't believe what we're doing here. I tweeted something about, having faith and whatnot. And I tweeted immediately after that fourth down call and said, that warrants some hate. But dude, it's like, I totally get going for fourth downs and whatnot. Like when you're on the goal line, totally. But when you're on your 50-yard line with 2 minutes to go and you've got a Heisman candidate on the other side of the ball, you can't give him the ball back, Brian. I mean, you just can't. And, lost by 3, didn't go for 2 field goals, went for it on the goal line. I get that part. Our kicker, who has cost me so much pain in his 6 years he's been here. It's just incredible, man. Just incredible. It's the Ducks. It's Oregon Ducks sports. It's just how it goes. And, I'm feeling like they should have got 4 unsportsmanlike conducts for this week.
Whoa.
That's wrong,
yeah. That was a tough game.
It was horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But yeah, what's your unsportsmanlike conduct looking like, Ryan?
I just want to give a comment to Michael Penix Jr. He played at Indiana before playing at Washington, so I guess we both can kind of hate him.
Yeah.
But he is a phenomenal quarterback. So I would respect him more than I hate him, to be honest.
Yeah.
But hey, man, that's what sports is, man. Loving and hating, the wins and the losses,
Exactly.
the close battles, the comebacks. So I'm very sorry that Oregon kind of, they pulled a Purdue, to be honest. Yeah. They pulled a Purdue.
Crazy. And also, Brian, what you have written for your unsportsmanlike conduct has made me giggle. I'm not gonna lie, that shit is funny.
So for my unsportsmanlike conduct is also in the football realm. It is about Purdue football. But all I'm gonna say about Purdue football is that I'm excited for Purdue basketball.
That's good.
There's also more salt to the wound with Purdue football this year because our former coach, Jeff Brom at Louisville, is doing well. They did lose this week, but I mean, they're 5-1 and we've only won, I believe, 2 games. So you know what? It's gonna be a rebuild. We do have a tough schedule, but I don't even want to focus on football anymore. So Purdue basketball looks great. They're projected to be a top 5 ranked team again, which is sick. And I just can't wait to lose in the NCAA tournament again. So
they still have Zach Edey.
Yeah, Zach Edey. Zach Edey is a beast. Yeah. It's really cool he probably stayed because of NIL. And honestly, the NBA has changed a lot. So, I mean, he would have been a lottery pick like 15, 20 years ago. But now it's like I feel like there should be a spot for him on a team just because he is so dominant. Hopefully he just works on his 3-point shooting and just agility, because I think that's what he needs to improve on in order to actually make it in the league. But I mean, for college, yeah, he's National Player of the Year threat again, which is awesome.
Did he win it last year?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. How tall is he? 7'3"?
7'4",
7'1",
I think.
4. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah. Should be fun.
I get the national tournament losing because I'm a Gonzaga fan, and it's just like every single year. You have such high hopes, and lose.
So hopefully Purdue pulls a Virginia, and after losing to a 16 seed, they win the following year. So
that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Purdue football gets my unsportsmanlike conduct. It's just Purdue football, man.
It is what it is.
That's all I can say. I'm excited for Purdue basketball.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is all for this episode of Varsity Club Lacrosse Podcast. If you guys want us to answer any questions, you can email us at varsityclublacrossepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll answer them on a later show. Make sure to tune in next time for more exciting content about the world of club lacrosse. You can follow us on Instagram at Sam_Criscola and at Brian Plunkett Lopez. Thanks for listening.
Bye.